Manchester City 5, Crystal Palace 2, and I've got to say that was an incredible comeback, and I don't think any Manchester City fan expected that to happen because of the way we've been playing this season, the way that we've kind of rolled over in these type of games. I was absolutely shocked to see us come back in the way we did, and obviously we have to give so much credit to Kevin De Bruyne, the man who absolutely ignited the comeback, and he was the one that dragged us over the line today. And don't get me wrong, some other players stepped up, some other players had some good performances, but Kevin De Bruyne, he was the one, and I am so sad that he will be leaving at the end of this season. But in the opening 25 to 30 minutes of the game, I mean, it was a completely different game to what we saw for the remainder of the match. I mean, Crystal Palace could have had 3 or 4 very, very easily. Obviously, the first goal was scored with a switch in behind our back line of our defense. Really, really simple to be caught out by 2 balls like that and just be completely picked apart, free at the back post. It was really, really poor defending from Manchester City to allow the first goal to happen. Then for the second goal off of the corner, I think Ederson should be much, much stronger personally. Diaz kind of pushes Mateta into Ederson. Ederson doesn't really have that much contact made with him though. I think he has to be a lot stronger. He has to try and dominate his box a lot more. We didn't defend the Crystal Palace corner well, despite it obviously being a good ball into the box. And we were 2-0 behind at that point in the game. Then obviously there was the chance that Eze scored, which was ruled offside by the new semi-automated offsides, rightfully offside, but again, another warning sign. Then Ismail Assar as well, also with a really good chance, who did not finish at that time. And we could have been 4-0 down. We could have been 3 or 4 down, which is a really worrying sight, of course, you know, especially with the way that we have been playing at times this season, the way we played at Old Trafford last weekend. And if you asked me what I thought at that moment in the game, probably would have told you that yeah, we're not coming back in this one. This is probably going to be a comfortable Crystal Palace win. But how wrong was I, and how wrong was every other Manchester City fan? Because let's be real, I think every Manchester City fan probably would have agreed with me in that moment in time. And Kevin De Bruyne steps up with an absolutely unbelievable free kick into the far corner. It absolutely wrong foots Dean Henderson. And this is why I'm going to miss Kevin De Bruyne so much, is because that technique in which he uses to take that free kick, there are not many players in world football that can do that. The inside of his foot, to be able to hit that with as much accuracy and power as he does, it's absolutely unreal, and it completely wrong foots Dean Henderson. It's into the back of the net, and the way that the shot kind of hits the post, goes in, and just fizzles around the net. Oh, it was so satisfying to see that one hit the back of the net. And Kevin De Bruyne drags us back into that game. And then for the second goal, again, it's Kevin De Bruyne, the ball into the box. Kevin De Bruyne is at the back post. He knows obviously he can't get a shot off on goal at that point, so he headers it back across the face of goal. Ilkay Gundogan tries to get on the end of it, and he kind of slashes his shot, gets really no contact with it whatsoever, and it falls to Omar Marmoush, who hits it beautifully off the half volley. The way that Omar Marmoush strikes the ball, by the way, I mean, it's absolutely unreal. The ball striking ability he's got, I can't wait to watch more of Omar Marmoush going forward. He pounces on the chance, he puts it in the back of the net to make it 2-2, and I thought maybe we were going to go into the halftime break 3-2 up with that Kevin De Bruyne chance, where he gets inside the box, a lovely little touch between 2 Crystal Palace players. He sets the shot up, and I thought it was going to be 3-2 at that moment in time. Kevin De Bruyne, with that amount of room in the box, able to get a strike off on goal, but he does not hit the technique correctly. It goes over the bar, and it is not 3-2 before halftime. It ends 2-2. But honestly, it was incredible to see the contrast in which the way we played the first 25-30 minutes of that half compared to the last 15 minutes or so. We went from looking so incredibly vulnerable, Crystal Palace absolutely on top, to Manchester City dominating the ball, dominating the play, looking like, you know, a prime Manchester City side, dominating the ball, making it pretty much impossible for Crystal Palace to come out and counter-attack on us. And I thought we were absolutely exceptional in that moment in time, and obviously for the rest of the game as well. But it was incredible to see the difference between the two stages of the game, because it was like watching one team dominate and then Manchester City just flip the script. It was incredible to see. And then at halftime, I don't know if I was the only Manchester City fan thinking this, but I was thinking to myself, okay, they've got back in for 15 minutes. They're going to regroup. They're going to probably come back out in the second half looking to prove a point to Manchester City that we're not just here to pick up the point. We're coming here to pick up 3 points. We're going to put the pressure back on you. And I was a little bit nervous thinking that, you know, maybe Crystal Palace would have a resurgence of dominance in the second half. Boy, was I wrong. Manchester City dominated that entire second half. I mean, the way that we came out the blocks, really, really impressive stuff. You've got to say fair play to Guardiola, fair play to the players, because they put a real performance together in that second half. We started off the half really well with that goal. Nico O'Reilly with a really good run in behind the back of their defense. And Nico O'Reilly then cuts it back to Kevin De Bruyne in the box, who has the awareness to take a touch, swivel on it, play it perfectly into the path of Mateo Kovacic. Mateo Kovacic gets on the end of it, on the edge of the box. He goes to take a first-time shot, and he slips over as he does it, but I think the slip might have actually helped him a little bit because it guides the ball into the far corner. A really good finish into the far corner, and it's 3-2 at that point. And I mean, absolutely unbelievable from a Manchester City perspective that we were able to turn the game around. And Kevin De Bruyne, obviously instrumental in all 3 goals. The first goal was the free kick. The second goal, obviously, with the header back across the box. The third goal, playing it into the path of Mateo Kovacic. He was the difference today, and that is why I think that he should get a 1-year contract extension personally. I am a little bit gutted, to be honest. I'm not just a little bit gutted. I'm very gutted that he will be leaving at the end of the season, because I do feel like there is so much more that a fit Kevin De Bruyne can offer to this football club. So I am really gutted to see him obviously leave at the end of the season. I think he has so much more to offer. And then for the 4th goal, okay, Ederson may have made his mistake earlier in the game, but he made up for it, because that assist, his 4th Premier League assist of the season, his 7th Premier League assist of all time, now taking him 2 ahead of Paul Robinson for the goalkeeper with the most Premier League assists in Premier League history. And the ball was absolutely sensational in behind for James McAtee. It was a good run from McAtee, of course. And James McAtee doesn't take actually the perfect first touch. He kind of takes a little bit of a, you know, a scuffed first touch. However, it does get him in the right path. He beats the goalkeeper quite comfortably, and then comfortably gets it back onto his left foot, composes himself, slides it into the back of an empty net as the Crystal Palace players try to get back. And James McAtee, for me, the most impressive part of the goal from his perspective was the backflip. I did not expect that. James McAtee does not strike me as a person who can pull off a backflip. He proved me wrong. A sensational goal celebration, and at that point I was on cloud 9. And then for the 5th goal of the game, Nico O'Reilly getting his first Premier League goal of his career. A special moment obviously for him, and I'm so happy for him, because he's come into this side in the FA Cup. He's proven himself, got into the Premier League first team, and he's really now proving himself that he can become a Manchester City player that can start for many years to come. He's looking very composed. He's looking at home in this Manchester City side at the moment. And when the ball fell to him in the box, again, that word I will use, composure. He just doesn't even take a touch. He just tries to guide it with his left foot with a really smart finish. Now, it does come off the Crystal Palace player, but having the confidence to take that first time with the technique that he does allows him to be able to get that strike off of a goal and get his first goal of his Premier League career. So I'm really happy with him. Obviously, you know, he's got to learn some things defending as a left back, but he's not a left back, he's a midfielder. So I'm really, really happy with Nico O'Reilly, and I'm really, really happy with that second half performance and the way that we were able to turn around the game today. But not only was it a massive performance from us in the second half today, but it was also a massive result. We had to get that result if we want Champions League football this season. Losing against Crystal Palace at home would have pretty much written off our Champions League aspirations this season, because we've got Chelsea and Newcastle, who both would have been above us in the table, with Chelsea having a game in hand and Newcastle having 2 games on hand in us. So getting those 3 points to get us into 4th spot in the Premier League, apply that pressure, continuing applying that pressure to Chelsea, Newcastle, is absolutely necessary. And as I said, if we did not win that game today, I really would have been thinking it's probably going to be Europa League next season. But coming into the player ratings for today's match, I'm going to be obviously starting off in goal with Ederson, and I'm going to give him a 7. Now, I'm not going to give him more than a 7, because I think for the second Crystal Palace goal especially, Ederson had to be a little bit stronger. The first goal, I'm going to obviously let him off because he was left exposed from our poor defending. But for the second goal, I think he had to be a little bit stronger off of that corner, dominate his box a little bit more. So he did not do that, so that's why he gets a little bit of a reduction on his rating. However, that assist for James McAtee and some of the passes he was playing out from the back, absolutely unbelievable. He is such a unique goalkeeper. I mean, obviously, some City fans get frustrated with him from time to time. He can do some stupid things, but when he pulls out passes like that, it's just absolutely unbelievable to watch. And that is now, as I said before, his 4th Premier League assist of the season. Some outfield creative midfielders for big sides like Dominic Szoboszlai don't have that many assists this season. So absolutely sensational stuff from him. Then moving in to Rico Lewis at right back. I'm going to go with a 6. Obviously, once the game settled down a little bit, I do think he played quite well. He's always quite composed, good on the ball. However, in those opening 25-30 minutes of the game, defensively, still concerns there. And this is why I say that I don't think he's really a right back, because yes, of course, he can play the position. I think he's a better defensive right back than Matheus Nunes, but still he switches off. Still, at times he gets caught out. He got caught out for the first goal again today. Yes, Etse's in an offside position, but I think he should be a little bit smarter with the way he can get back. It was way too much distance between him and Eze when Eze taps it into the back of the empty net. So on that part, obviously poor defending from Manchester City and poor defending from Rico Lewis included in that back line. So for me, he gets a 6. Moving on to the 2 centre-backs, Diaz and Gvardiol, I'm going to give them a 6 as well. I don't think they were bad by any means today. I would have given them worse ratings if I thought they were terrible. But obviously, in that first 25-30 minutes, there were just too many errors from Manchester City. We were too easy to get in behind. We were too easy to get shots off on goal at. And I thought the backline kind of struggled. So I'm going to give Diaz and Gvardiol a 6. But I do think that backline did steady out as the game went on, obviously. And Crystal Palace kind of got pushed further and further back into their own half. Nico O'Reilly, I'm going to give him a 7. Obviously got the goal, the 5th goal of the game today. I'm really impressed with him. Don't get me wrong. Again, like the rest of the backline, he got caught out in moments of the game defensively down that channel. I think we struggled a few times in the opening 25-30 minutes of the game, but he's not a left back, so I'm going to let him off a little bit for that. He's a central midfielder playing out of position at left back, but the composure in which he has on the ball, the ability of obviously to get forward, make runs in behind like he did for the 3rd goal of the game as well today, where he makes that really good run in behind, plays it back into De Bruyne. That gets us the 3rd goal to make us to put us in the lead in the game. So Nico O'Reilly, there's a lot of good stuff to his game. Yes, of course, you know, the defensive aspect of things, he will improve. He's still quite good defensively for being a youngster out of position. But yeah, for me, he gets a 7 for today's performance. And then moving into the midfield for Nico Gonzalez, Mateo Kovacic, and Ilkay Gundogan, I'm going to give them all a 7. I thought that they all had pretty good performances. I think, especially in the recent weeks, I think Ilkay Gundogan's really stepped up for Manchester City. I think that, you know, he's getting back to that similar level, and I think you can see a massive difference in the performances of Ilkay Gundogan when you've got legs in midfield alongside him, and which can help him not have to physically have to compete all game long and chase back, and because that's not his game anymore. He can't do that side of things, and he wasn't incredible at it before anyway. So now he's older, he's really bad at it. So Nico Gonzalez having his presence in there in the midfield, who's a little bit more physically capable, can get around the park, make those challenges. It does alleviate a lot of the pressure on Ilkay Gundogan to be able to cover ground in the midfield. And Mateo Kovacic in there as well adds a little bit more bite, a little bit more ability to carry the ball forward. And I thought Mateo Kovacic also had a good game today. Obviously, he got the goal for the 3rd of the game. And then off the right-hand side for James McAtee, I'm going to give him a 7. The reason why I'm giving him a 7 and not bumping him higher is because he got a lot of opportunities today. I just think that he maybe should have took another one of those opportunities. On a different day, I think he probably does. But on a different day, it could have cost us him missing those opportunities today. So that's why I've only given him a 7. But the positive is, from a Manchester City perspective and going forward, is he's getting the chances. That is the main thing, because I'd be more worried if he wasn't getting the chances than he is getting the chances. He obviously did get his goal today from the Ederson assist. An absolutely unbelievable assist from Ederson. But the thing I really liked about it from James McAtee, some people will say, oh, you know, it was an open goal, whatever. The thing I liked about it is once he took it around the goalkeeper, he had the composure to be able to realise that he had enough time to be able to get it on his left foot and slide it into the back of the net. I think a lot of players in those type of scenarios, they see the goal gaping and they panic. And they just want to get the shot off as quick as possible. Not James McAtee. He took the time to compose himself, get it on the left foot, put it in the back of the net comfortably. And that's what I really liked about that finish. Moving on, though, to Omar Marmoush. We're leaving out, obviously, the king for the final player rating of the starting 11. But Omar Marmoush, I'm going to give him an 8. I was really impressed with his performance today. He obviously got the goal, predatory-like finish. I mean, that is what Omar Marmoush is all about. I can see him scoring many, many more goals for Manchester City like that. The ball striking ability is absolutely unbelievable. But I think the thing that was really impressive about Omar Marmoush today is the relentlessness about his pressing. The amount of times that Crystal Palace were trying to get back on the ball and Omar Marmoush would close them down. He was bitey. He just would not give them a moment to rest. And I love that about him. So for me, I'm going to give Omar Marmoush an 8. Then, of course, we have left King Kevin De Bruyne for the last player to give the player rating. For me, he gets a 10 today. I've seen some people give him a 9. For me, without him today, we don't get those 3 points. Without him today, we probably lose that game because he was the inspiration for this side today. As I pointed out earlier in the video about in all 3 of the goals of us recovering from that 2-0 down position in the game, Kevin De Bruyne was instrumental in all 3 of those goals. For the free kick, obviously, sensational technique. Then for the second goal, the header back across goal. Then for the third goal, the little slide into Mateo Kovacic. An absolutely unbelievable player. And for me, he gets a 10 out of 10 rating for today's performance. Then moving on to the bench, Ortega, Savinho, Bob, Doku, I think there was another player that came on. I don't remember. I think it might have been Grealish. I'm just going to give them all a 6. I don't think they had a massive impact on the game today. I think the majority of the impact all came from the players that started the game. Obviously, I think a few of those substitutes didn't even get much time on the pitch. So for me, I'm just going to give all of the substitutes a 6. And that is my player ratings for today's match. But yeah, I mean, an absolutely sensational comeback. I'm so happy with that performance in the second half with the last 15 minutes on top of that as well. The way that we showed personality to come back in the game, obviously led by Kevin De Bruyne, our captain. But I was really happy to see that kind of fighting spirit within the team because I feel like that's been lacking a lot at times this season. When we went through that spell, I think it was 13 games with only 1 win. The lack of fight was the thing that I think really disappointed a lot of Manchester City fans. And I think the squad really showed that as a whole today, to really fight, to come back into the game, to make sure we win, to get the Champions League spot. So I was really, really happy with that side of things as well, that we were able to come through adversity. Because a lot of times this season, whenever adversity comes to this Manchester City side, we have crumbled. So that is a really, really positive sign going forward for us. As I said, a massive result in the context of the Champions League push for this season. And Crystal Palace are a good side, so to be able to score 5 goals unanswered like that is really impressive. But yeah, Kevin De Bruyne, my king. Manchester City, really, really good performance in the second half. Hopefully we can carry that on now for the remainder of the season. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of that game today. Let me know if there's any key takeaways that maybe I missed in this video, any player ratings that maybe you disagree with, and also if there's any content ideas that you guys have, things you want to see me bring to the channel, maybe even some improvements to my videos. Let me know in the comments below. Hit that like button as well if you want to see the content boosted in the algorithms. It helps get people on the channel, people watching my videos, so I'd really appreciate that. And obviously hit the subscribe button if you do want to see more of the content. But for now, that is it. Manchester City 5, Crystal Palace 2, a huge, huge comeback. Kevin De Bruyne is the king. And I'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace.